Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Conversations with Eileen. This is episode number, I believe it's 15. Tonight we have with us a special guest from the Wantagh Fire Department. We have Captain John Licata. He is also co-chair of the Wantagh Fire Department Fire Prevention Week, which is coming up October 3rd. So without further ado, let's bring him on. Hello, Captain.
Good evening, Eileen. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for the invitation.
Well, I appreciate your time. And as we spoke, we know that Fire Prevention Week starts October 3rd.
Right.
Through October 9th. And I know that you had said it's really Fire Prevention Month.
That's correct.
Okay. We'll get that straight. And I know that you actually do a great program to the school districts.
Yes,
we really talk to our youth about initiatives that they can do or knowledge. So please tell us a little bit about that program.
All right. First, we cover the Levittown, Wantagh, and one or two schools with East Meadow School District, Seaford School District. There's about 8,000 children all told in all the schools.
Wow.
And we coordinate with each of the schools. We bring out Smokehouse, and we do two programs, one for the K through 3.
Okay.
K through 2. And then we do a separate program, 3 through 5. Because the little ones, you have to treat them a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And the way we go about teaching fire prevention, we try to do it without showing that to be afraid. Right. As the older ones, we can go into the smokehouse and spend a little bit more time with them.
Right.
And then we also have our open house, generally at the end of the month, where the neighbors can come down. They can see the members and see our equipment.
I would be remiss to not mention that you are a 29-year volunteer.
Yes, I am.
So let me say thank you from our community for your dedication and your service. This is not an easy job, I'm sure, and hasn't been. It's dedication.
Well, we have a very good department. We're all trained very well, and the community is great. They really accept us and treat us with respect, which we like. And there's nothing we won't do for our community.
Well, respect is the most minimum that the community can give to someone who's leaving their home, leaving possibly dinner with their family, spending time with their family to go help another family. So respect, acknowledgement, and many, many thanks for the sacrifices. And I am very, very well aware. I'm very fortunate to have a lot of fire department friends, EMT friends in the East Meadow Fire Department. And I thank them all for their service. When they all come around, they do the spray painting of the numbers.
Yes.
And they say, "Yep, go ahead, give me a fresh coat."
Okay.
And here's my check and thank you, because it's important for people to say thank you. And I don't know that everyone realizes that here out in the suburbs in Nassau County and Suffolk County, our fire departments, except for incorporated villages, are all volunteer.
Correct. There's approximately 77 departments, and I'd say about 90% are volunteers. Some are mixed, where you have paid and volunteer, but primarily they're all volunteer.
That's amazing. And how do you enjoy working with the children?
It's great.
You love it.
Just to see how you can take 200 kids and quiet them with a snap of a finger.
Wow.
Is, the way these teachers are able to do it. And they're very responsive. The kids are good. We find out that we go back the following year. We'll just give them a phrase that we used in the prior year, and they remember. They're very receptive. They absorb a lot of the information, and hopefully they take that back to their families and try and explain it to the adults on what to do.
Well, I agree with you. I think it's definitely a conversation that parents should have with their children about a meeting place. I had that with mine
Very important.
when they were younger. We knew if there was a situation, God forbid, their job was to get out of the house, and we would meet
Right.
at the big tree down the block.
Well, most times, children, we teach them to listen to us, wait for a parent, wait for an adult to tell them what to do. But there are some situations where the child has to respond on their own. And it's a little different than what they're being told and what they're being taught. So they're a little apprehensive at first, but we try to explain to them the importance of thinking on their own, or if they're with a sibling in the room, how to react, because there may not be an adult available for whatever reason.
Sure. Listen, something happens in the middle of the night.
Correct.
You're disorientated. You're trying to go through a list in your head of what am I supposed to do? What is the first thing I'm supposed to do? Get my child. You don't know if that child is already awake
Right.
and wandering, and now you're in a smoke-filled room. What do you do?
So you're thinking as an adult and a mom, what do I do for my child? When you have a child who really doesn't know how to respond on their own, whenever they're scared, they look for a parent.
Right.
So the concern is that that child may go from a safe environment
Right.
to an unsafe environment, thinking they have to go see a parent. And same thing with the parents. It's hard. I'm a parent, I'm a grandparent.
Yeah.
To have to do something and leave a child in another area might be the best thing to do, but it's a hard thing to do.
Right. But you teach the children what they should do. Well,
Correct.
The we'll say the older children.
Well, even the little ones, because they do drills in school, and
Right.
a drill in school is similar to a home drill.
Okay.
You're in a room, the alarm goes off, you leave the room, you go outside, whether
Right.
it's a school or a home. It's different, obviously, in a home because the child might be separated from a parent. Hopefully, the bedroom doors are closed, which as parents, we don't like to do because we want to be able to hear if they're still up and about.
Right.
But for safety reasons, their bedroom doors should be closed. So now you have a child in a room, they hear an alarm go off, they don't know what's going on. The first instinct is to open that door and run down to mom and dad or whoever the adult is.
Right.
That might put them in a bad situation. So we teach them how to check the door before you open it. If you can't open it because of the condition, we then teach them to go to a window. If it's first floor, to exit, second floor, stay in the room, open the window, and wait for the fireman to come. So here's a situation where you're asking a 5, 6, 7-year-old to go against everything you've ever taught them.
Right.
To be safe, because we teach them that we need them to go outside and tell the fireman what's going on in the house.
Right.
So give them a job to do, a task, rather than just say, go outside. So in their mind, they know that by going outside, they're, besides keeping themselves safe, they're helping their family.
Right. And, with fire prevention coming up and us coming out of the pandemic, I know a lot of the firehouses have not been able to do the traditional
Correct.
open houses and bringing the programs to the school. And that's the reason why I felt it was really an important opportunity,
Right.
with Sunday being the beginning of Fire Prevention Month, to gently remind, as I like to say, because I don't like to say that people become complacent, because that is somewhat
Right.
intentional. I think they become forgetful. If you have a routine and you do it all the time, then you do the same thing over and over again. When you have a break, as we have for almost the last 2 years, then you've now broken what would have been a routine.
Correct.
Of bringing the kids down and going over these messages over and over and over again. And I was particularly interested in you because you speak to the children. And
Right.
I think that it's another good opportunity to once again bring the messaging to both adults and the children. So my hope is when this podcast gets released, that a parent will actually sit down with their child and say, I want you to watch this with me. And
Right.
I want to review some of the things that we used to do and we didn't do because we were quarantined or we were confined or we were in shutdown or we were whatever. And let's get back to doing our yearly routine activities where, as you say, let's do a practice alarm. Let's do a practice run. What do you do? What's the first thing you do? And where do we meet? And what do I do? It's really important.
Well, there are some, I guess some parents, and be honest with you, even the people I'm close to, don't really practice fire prevention or fire drills because it's something you don't want to think about. And it really doesn't happen as often as you think. It makes the news because it's an event. But basically, there aren't that many events in the course of a year. So it's something people don't like to deal with. And it's something that's spontaneous. You don't prepare for it. At 2 o'clock in the morning, you're going to bed, you're thinking about the work the next day, and all of a sudden, your whole world turned upside down. And you may not be thinking properly. As a parent, your instinct is to go to the child. And these are the things that sometimes get people in trouble. And it's hard for a parent.
You bring up a very good point. You don't think about it until it happens to you.
Right.
Or someone you love.
And even practicing, it's fine on a Sunday during the day. Here's what you're going to do. You really want to go at 2 o'clock in the morning, set off your alarm and make the noise. And see how these people react and learn from that. They're going to make mistakes. It's inevitable. No one's perfect.
Yes.
But you want to be able to show them this is what you did wrong and then go over it. But you have to make it as real as possible. You can't go during the day nice and easy when the lights are on,
right.
The sun is out. You have to make it difficult. A cold night, a rainy night, things like that.
Because you don't know.
Correct.
You just don't know. And I think that's an excellent point. And I hope that anyone that's watching this is taking what you're saying really to heart. 2 weeks ago, we had a fire after a fire in East Meadow. We had one on Prospect where a family was displaced, and then we actually had one right next to our elementary school where we had to do a shutdown. So these situations are really scary. A couple of years ago, right around the corner from me, a gentleman was working on his oil burner, and you can guess what happened.
Yeah.
And I think this is, as I said, the perfect opportunity. We're going into the winter months. We're going into the holiday season. It's a good reminder. And let's make sure that we get the information out. And I always say, if this conversation helps one family, then we did our job.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
I hope we help more than one family.
Well, like I said at the beginning, the amount of actual fires we have in the district are low, which is good. And even the ones we have they're usually one room, a kitchen, a bedroom, not a whole house. We have a few of those, but they're rare because of people doing the right thing. Smoke alarms are very important. The awareness is there, where the notifications are made quick, and then we respond, quickly. So we keep it to a minimum. So everybody's doing a good job. But you have to be vigilant and just don't take things for granted.
Now, this year, are you guys doing a open house?
Unfortunately, with the COVID, we won't be able to.
Okay.
I'm trying to work at the schools.
Okay.
We're trying to come up, being a little innovative with the administration on how we can maybe do things like this, where we can go into a room and they have these smart boards in the class.
Yeah.
We're going to try and maybe do some outside ones. We're trying to do something just to keep it going.
It's an important message.
Yes.
It really is. I'm very fortunate uh, that nothing has ever happened. Every year when the kids were little, I took them, and it was it was a fun event for them, but they did leave with something.
Well, you know,
And
and again, it's not just your home. You could be at a hotel. You could be on vacation. You could be
sure,
over a relative's house for a weekend or whatever, in another environment, and an event could happen. And it's, what do we do? It's all the same no matter where you are, but it's
right.
an awareness of getting to safety. That's all, and being aware of
And
your surroundings.
yeah, and as you've stated, it's your reaction.
Correct.
It's the reaction that I think you brought some great information, and I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your night. I
Oh,
know it's late,
my pleasure. No, it's my pleasure.
but I did.
Because even if Eileen, if one person in the family remembers something,
Yeah.
it could be your 7-year-old that says, "Hey, let's go this way. I remember," and they'll lead. And
Yes.
I'm surprised if someone who doesn't know what's going on will follow that person. Just show a little initiative and some direction, and
Yeah.
it can help. So hopefully somebody in the family will learn from it.
Well, my hope is that we get back to having these open houses, because I think that they are absolutely a necessity,
Oh, of course.
and we can, get back to normalcy and educate the children, which I completely agree is as essential as talking to the adults on making sure you change your batteries in your
Well,
smoke
again,
detectors.
with adults, I mean, most adults, there's an awareness. Smoking is down a lot, so you don't have that issue really to deal with. But you're right. Smoke alarms, fireplaces, Christmas trees, Christmas lights,
Yeah.
uh, the scented candles now. It's but we also teach the kids. Sometimes parents, they'll light something and walk away. We've
You're
all done,
right.
because you get distracted. A child now knows, hey, you can't leave that thing alone, and they'll
Right.
remind a parent. So the parents are good, but the key is smoke alarms. They have to have smoke alarms, working smoke alarms. And if I have a couple of minutes, CO detectors,
I was just going to say that.
very important.
I was just going to say that.
I
I
would
had a
say,
puffback a
I
couple
would
of years
say
ago.
90% of our CO calls end up being just bad batteries. And I
Okay.
tell the people feel bad that we came out. The idea is they reacted to an alarm. It's not up to them to decide if it's a bad detector.
Right.
An
Right.
alarm goes, that's our job. We would rather go out there and find a dead battery than a dead person. So don't feel bad if the alarm goes off and you don't smell something, you don't see something, you're embarrassed to call the fire department. We'll always go out there, we'll check it, we'll let you know what the problem is, if there is a problem, and then we go home. We'd rather go home that way than have to come back if there's a situation. But the CO detectors, it's important to have more than one and make sure they're working.
Now, I understand they have them combined now, smoke detectors and CO.
Yes. Well, I'm a little anal with that stuff.
Okay.
I have one in every room. I have smoke alarm in every room. That's just me. Because if one goes off, people call because they think there's a problem. But if you
Right.
have multiple alarms in your home and they're not going off, sometimes it's a problem with a detector. It's not
Right.
necessarily a problem in the house. So you should have more than one. Uh,
Absolutely.
but now the new ones now they're 10-year, they're solid, where there's no battery changing. So you have to worry about changing batteries. But again, check them. They all have tests on them. They have separate alarms to let you know if there's
Mhm.
a battery problem. So the technology has gotten better, but they generally only last about 4 to 5 years.
Okay.
So what we
That's good
find
to
is,
know.
well, on the back, if they're very small print. On the back, it tells you when it was manufactured. So if you see an alarm is 5, 6, 7 years old, they're
Mhm.
very inexpensive. Change it out,
Change it.
but you don't have these false
Yeah.
activations.
Better to be safe than sorry.
And CO detectors are just as important as
Yes.
smoke alarms.
I told you I had a puffback a couple of years ago, and luckily, the fire department showed up very quickly.
Because the CO is a silent killer.
I know that.
The fire alarms, the
very
smoke,
scary.
But CO is something you won't know until it's too late. So it's very important to have them in all. I have like all the bedrooms, hallway, around the oil burner. My house is just all. And then I have the hardwire alarms to the alarm company.
Yeah,
I went a little overboard, but I'd rather be safe.
Well, it's kind of what you do. So.
Yeah, it would be embarrassing too.
Well, I can't thank you enough. And as I said, if we can bring this information to one family, and I'm sure it's going to be more than one, then our time spent together was well worth it. Bringing information,
of course,
back into the community, and then once this kind of downloads, I'll send you a link, and feel free to share it.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time to educate our children and spending time with their children. And thank you for 29 years of selflessness, and dedication, and leaving your family in the middle of dinner to go help someone else out. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Your community thanks you.
On behalf of the fire department, I thank you. And it's an honor and a pleasure to serve.
It's been my honor. Thank you so much.
Okay.
And I would just stay safe.
Thank you.
All righty. And
check those alarms.
I will
protect us.
I will. I promise.
Okay.
All righty. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you so much.
All righty.